So with the 2012 presidential election fast approaching, and Obama's newfound stance on supporting gay marriage along with Mitt Romney's stance on not supporting gay marriage is bound to be a hot topic this campaign. Along with being the focal point of some debates, it's inevitable that gay marriage is going to appear on some ballots come November in the form of propositions such as Proposition 8 in 2008 California. So recently I've been having a debate with somebody on the comment section of some gray bloke's video on marriage, and that sort of inspired this video, a general argument about gay marriage, some of which I may have slightly touched base on, but not quite in the same scope and depth as is going to be presented in this video. For the content of this video, I would actually like to address the person that I was debating in the comment section of some gray bloke's video, simply because he brought up points that are commonly held, points that I haven't quite addressed, and there are points that you're bound to hear come out of Mitt Romney's mouth at some point this summer. Among other things, he pointed to marriage being this profound, historic, traditional bond between a man and a woman. A definition that would be somehow undermined if gay people were allowed to marry. He then focused on marriage being a promotion of family values, a promotion of the family as a whole, to the benefit of children, to the benefit of civilization. And then, of course, there were many others who worried about their religious freedom. We'll get to all of those different points in a minute, but first let's take a look at our modern definition of marriage. Marriage in Western civilization is about economic codependency. In other words, if I'm going to marry my boyfriend Brock, what that means is that I'm saying that I'm dependent on his income, he's dependent on my income, I'm dependent on his property, he's dependent on my property. Basically, if we were to then have a terrible argument about the supposedly different colors aqua and turquoise and split, he would be entitled to half of my property and I'd be entitled to half his property. And in a circumstance where I was either unemployed or had considerably lower salary than he did at the time, he would have to pay me some form of reparation for a set period of time until I got on my feet again. Or, if while having this terrible argument about the supposedly different colors, aqua and turquoise, we got in a car accident and I died, half of any sort of pension that I've accumulated, half of my property goes to him. Or, if we were to be having this terrible argument, get in a car accident, and I'm on life support, he has the power of attorney. That's all it is. In order to obtain these rights, all I need is him, me, a piece of paper, a witness, and somebody with a certificate that is fairly easy to acquire. We don't have to exchange rings, we don't have to exchange vows, all we need is a signature. How profound is that? If I heard you say not very, I agree. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the points that these individuals bring up. We have the fact that marriage is historic between a man and a woman, traditional, and it cannot be rewritten. Marriage has already been redefined. We've already redefined it. No, I shouldn't say that. You've already redefined it. Straight people have already redefined it. Because guess what? 100 years ago, women did not have the right to vote. They were not quite people. 1,000 years ago, women were property. Marriage was the redistribution of property. It was the husband acquiring the property, which was the daughter of the father. That's it. There was no lovey-dovey romance. There could have been, just like in arranged marriages, some of them are successful. But chances are there wasn't, because in a lot of cases, it was a 30-year-old acquiring a 13-year-old. Now, can you imagine if that were to happen today? If a father tried to arrange that his 13-year-old daughter growing up in Ottawa, Ontario, to marry this 30-year-old. Imagine the outcry. But hey, if the historic and traditional meaning of marriage is so important to you, why wouldn't you defend that? Then, of course, we get into the whole argument about children, about families. Ignoring the obvious point that I could make about infertile couples marrying, elderly couples marrying, people with absolutely no intention of having kids marrying, let's think a little bit about this. First, let's bring up a point that this individual, along with many others, bring up, which is the argument that gay people can adopt because they make inferior parents. Essentially, they point to one of three things. Gay people can't be parents because they're moral deviations. Gay people can't be parents because they raise confused children. Gay people can't be parents because they raise predominantly gay children. Funny enough, when you look at peer-reviewed and accepted evidence accumulated by research about gay parents, they continually find that gay parents are not only as good as straight parents at raising kids, but they actually tend to raise better adjusted kids, and they tend to form tighter bonds with kids. Now, why is that? Why could that be? This isn't saying that the best gay parents are better than the best straight parents, and this isn't saying that there aren't any bad gay parents, because there's bound to be. However, what it's saying is that on average, gay parents tend to be better than straight parents. Why could this be, you ask? Well, let's think about it. As one comedian so aptly put it, if me and my boyfriend got drunk one night, we couldn't wake up next to signed adoption papers. We're not going to accidentally procreate. We can try, but we're not going to succeed. In order to obtain a child, in order to adopt a child, we need to go through an extensive process that demonstrates that we're a stable family, that we're ready for kids, that we want kids, and that we'd be able to support said kids. We can't get pregnant because the condom broke. In other words, when gay parents have kids, they're much more likely to be ready for them and to want them. Now, there's a lot of people that are going to be saying, how could this be? That can't be so. You don't have a male and female influence in the kids' lives. To which I reply, that is complete BS. Two people do not raise a child. My mother and father did not raise me alone. I had the influence of my brother, my sister, my grandparents. I had the influence of my aunts and uncles. I had the influence of my cousins. I had the influence of my friends, my teachers. I had the influence of my parents' friends. There are plenty of ways for female and male influences to help in raising children. It's not just two individuals that raise children. It takes a village. That's how kids are raised. Now, another thing this person brought up is marriage's supposed benefit to civilization. And you know what? If we take that opinion at face value, as flawed as it may be, there is a point to be made about the benefit of homosexual marriage to civilization. If you ask any married straight couple whether they would rather have biological children or adopted children, chances are they're going to tell you that they would rather have biological children. Unfortunately, that does not change the number of children looking to be adopted. As it stands, there are plenty more children looking to be adopted than there are families to adopt them. If we allow gay people to marry, allow gay people to adopt, we are giving those children homes. Homes that have been proven to be just as good as straight homes. If you want to talk about an evolutionary purpose for homosexuality, there's one right there. Now, there's a lot of people in the United States that worry about their religious freedom, to which my only response need be, look at Canada. When gay marriage was legalized in 2005, it was left up to the churches to decide whether or not they would perform said marriages. Civil marriage was granted right away, but it was up to the Catholics, the Protestants, the Muslims, the Jewish, all the different religions, all the different churches. It was up to them. In other words, if I'm going to go to a courthouse with my boyfriend tomorrow, I can get married. If I'm going to go to a Catholic church with my boyfriend tomorrow, I'm going to be turned away. And that's the way it should be. Because quite frankly, at the end of the day, as many of you probably suspect, I have no intention of being married by any kind of minister. Ladies and gentlemen, the year is 2012. And it is time for the United States to stop pretending like it's a beacon of freedom when such blindly ignorant and irrational laws continue to be enacted in the name of family values at the expense of liberty. The rest of the Western world does not marvel at American freedom, because at the end of the day, you're not.